You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Most writers and radio show hosts know that to connect with your fans, you need to do more than just write books or record the latest podcasts. There are many different elements that go into forming an online platform, but there are also many hidden traps. To make matters worse, solid advice on how to survive the muddy waters is scarce. In the book Hidden Traps, I talk about some of the important issues of working with an online platform, highlighting traps that could put your physical or internet security at risk or be harmful to your reputation. Are your social media posts just links with a few disjointed words, making you look like someone who can't complete a sentence? Did your new website cost you more than you anticipated? Are you leaking your personal contact details across the web without even knowing it? Then you need Hidden Traps. Hidden Traps is now available in paperback and ebook from a variety of retailers, including Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Kobo. Visit blackwolfpublications.com for more details.
Do you need a car? Been shopping only to be turned down because of bad credit, low credit, no credit, bankruptcy, or divorce? Guess what? Today's your lucky day, because now you can buy a car, truck, or SUV, just about any vehicle. It's true. Bad credit doesn't matter. No credit doesn't matter. Bankruptcy or divorce, it just doesn't matter. As a matter of fact, your job is your ticket to your new vehicle. We're Auto Credit Express, and we've helped thousands of people just like you. Antonio H. told us, great company, got me connected, and the day I went in, I drove off in the car I wanted. 100% worth your time. Need a car? Get started now and drive off as early as today. Just text FINANCE, FINANCE, to 357-911 right now to get started. That's FINANCE, FINANCE, to 357-911. Auto financing the easy way. Text FINANCE to 357-911.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
Everyone loves liberty. Our rights come from God, not the government. So why are you letting other people tell you what's best for your health care? Exercise your freedom with Liberty Health Share. Liberty Health Share is a community of people who voluntarily share one another's medical costs. Liberty Health Share is founded on the idea that most people truly want to help one another. Healthcare sharing allows members to do just that as a true community that supports one another in times of need. Liberty believes people should make decisions for themselves and their families. Members are able to take back the freedom to make their own decisions about their health care. Freedom from guilt or doubt about how your money is used. You have the freedom to direct your health care, not to be dictated to by bureaucrats. Stop letting others tell you what to do and join a community of like-minded people. Exercise your freedom. Join Liberty Health Share and take back the control of your health care while helping those around you. Call Liberty at 855-58-LIBERTY. Again, that's 855-58-LIBERTY for more information, or you can check them out at libertyhealthshare.org. Again, that's libertyhealthshare.org.
My son was in the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq. Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is. If getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. You'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now. 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
At St. Jude, a family never sees a bill at all. It's like the world has been lifted off of your shoulders.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
Sometimes writers feel lost, unsure why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing into full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, offering manuscript critiques and line edits through a mentoring editorial style. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services, visit blackwolfeditorial.com.
You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark. It's time now for the Conservative Curmudgeon Radio Show. Now, here's Grouchy.
How you doing, folks? Good to be back with you. Hope you had a good election night. It wasn't as bad as it seems, trust me. The blue wave that everybody talked about turned out to be more like the blue ripple. They got the House. It was expected. It's not a huge margin, but they have it. What's going to happen? Time will tell. Will the Democrats try to actually legislate through the House, or will they just obstruct and investigate for 2 years? I think that's a hard sell, going back to their constituents saying, look, we went after Trump's tax returns. I just don't think people care. We'll touch a little bit more about outcomes on the election. We're going to push in the big thing, the one I teased this morning. If you happen to see the tweet, maybe you did, maybe you didn't. It was a tweet that was jumped by a rabid, quote unquote, centrist who scoffed at the fact that I said we could still end up with a Republican House Speaker. And I was going to explain how. First, I was told that I was, I'll put it in PG terms since we're here on the air. I was told that I was defecating on the Constitution by saying that. And this person didn't seem to actually understand the process of electing a House Speaker. So just real quick, before we go into how it can happen, the House of Representatives elects the Speaker on the very first day of every new Congress. And they also do this in the event of death, resignation, or removal from the chair of an incumbent Speaker. The clerk of the House of Representatives requests nominations. There are normally two, one from each major party, and each party usually meets previously to have decided upon their nominee. Now, the clerk then calls the roll of the representatives, and each representative indicating the surname of the candidate the representative is supporting. Now, representatives are not restricted in voting for one of the nominated candidates and may vote for any person, even for someone who is not a member of the House of Representatives at all. They may also abstain by voting present. This is something that former President Barack Obama did a whole lot during his time in the Senate. There is no rule that exists from the earliest days of the nation for an elected speaker or candidate to receive an absolute majority of all votes cast for individuals, excluding those who abstain. If no candidate wins such majority, then a roll call is repeated until a speaker is elected. Now, the longest period of time that this ever took was back in 1923. We went for approximately 2 months without a speaker, and 133 ballots later, they finally elected a gentleman from Massachusetts to be speaker. Now, again, there is nothing in the Constitution that requires the Speaker of the House to even be a member of the House, let alone a member of the majority or minority parties. Now, with all this being said, and I hope my rabid centrist is listening so that they can actually learn a little something about the Constitution they claim that I defecate on. To become the Speaker of the House, a candidate traditionally needs to receive 218 votes on the chamber floor. That's because that equates a majority of the 435-member chamber. But it is still possible for a candidate to win without getting there. And it has happened before. So there is precedent. Now, why does this matter? Well, the top contenders for Speaker of the House I think we can all agree, would be Nancy Pelosi for the Democrats and probably Kevin McCarthy for the Republicans. I think Jim Jordan would make a very fine speaker. I just don't know that Congressman Jordan would get the broad support that a McCarthy would, being a little more on the moderate side and not as conservative as Jordan. So let's just, for the sake of argument, we'll go with the two, Pelosi and McCarthy, representing each of their parties. And there may be some dissension in the ranks, no guarantees or anything like that. Here's the catch. Right now, the Democrats are sitting with a 23 or 27 seat lead, Rick? Do you remember? You don't know. You're doing other things. So it's let's go with the high number, 27. They have a 27 seat lead. Okay? Right now, there are 61 Democrats on record publicly pledging to not support Nancy Pelosi for Speaker. Now, you take that difference. If they were to all vote present, they tip the balance. Okay, and I'll stand corrected. The Democrats hold 222. So they have a 20, let's see, that's 22 and 4 is 20. They have a 26-seat advantage with 61 pledging to not support Pelosi. If all 61 of these people, these representatives, opt to vote present, they drive the majority number necessary down. And they would also eliminate approximately 35, they would eliminate 35 additional seats beyond the 26-seat advantage. In which case, the Republicans would then hold the voting majority for Speaker of the House, and if unanimous behind their candidate, could possibly see Kevin McCarthy elected Speaker of the House. Perfectly legal, perfectly constitutional, and precedent has been set for it in the past. So to my rabid centrist who couldn't get enough of telling me what an idiot I was this morning, kiss my ass. Now, That's how we get there. Can it happen? Yes, it can happen. If there are 61 if the 61 Democrats who made this pledge to not support Nancy Pelosi, if they are willing, if they are able to stand by their pledge, they will either vote for an alternate candidate or they will vote present, as those would be the only two alternatives, or they could vote McCarthy, but I don't see that happening. But that's a possibility. So here's the thing. We actually could get this done if these 61 Democrats have the fortitude to be people of their words. They made these pledges so that their constituents would send them. And they are there now, 61 of them. Will they hold up their promise? If they do, we could have a Republican Speaker of the House. If they fold, Pelosi is Speaker. This is what everybody thought would happen anyway. I'm just saying there's a chance this can happen. Now, if neither party can get a healthy margin, the two leaders can afford to lose more can afford to lose more members. But we just covered that scenario, so we don't need to go through it again. This happened, basically the precedent, not even that long ago. In 2015, Boehner won it with only 216 votes, and Gingrich also won it with 216 votes back in 97. So it's a gamble for the Democrats. It's a big gamble. They can, if they vote present, they put their own party in danger. If they don't vote present, they discredit themselves right out of the gate. Now, what's more likely to happen? Well, they'll discredit themselves, I'm sure. That would be my take instantly without thinking about it. And what does that do? That already sets the table for 2 years down the road. Their constituents will know that they can't trust them right off the bat. So, folks, I'm not saying that we will have a Republican speaker. I'm just saying the possibility exists. There is a road to get there, and it wouldn't be all that difficult considering the non-appetite for Pelosi. This would not be the biggest shock in the world if it happened. So, anyway, what else is going on out there today? You know, we had the elections last night. We still got some races that haven't been settled yet. I don't understand why they can't count ballots in states that are half desert, overnight, when states that are massively more populated can get it done. I don't understand. But, again, not my polls, not my place. There are still some races that have yet to be decided. In Florida, we will have a Republican governor by the narrowest of margins. They have called the race in Florida's Senate race for Scott. However, under Florida law, because that race finished with a margin of less than 0.5% difference, there will be an automatic recount triggered by law. Do not read a whole lot into this. This is procedural only. Unless there is a truck that flipped off the causeway in Dade County and is laying in the Everglades filled with 50,000 ballots that all go left, I wouldn't worry about it. There are 39,000 votes separating Bill Nelson and Rick Scott. That is 39,000 to the advantage of Scott. If this were a 1,000 vote race, I would say hold your breath. If it were even a 2,000 vote race, I would say hold your breath. This is a 39,000 vote race. Just because it falls within the realm of 0.5%, there is no chance that they're going to find 39,000 additional Bill Nelson ballots. It's just not going to happen. Rick Scott is your senator from Florida. They can count till they're blue in the face. They're not going to get enough. So, what else is going on? The big news of the day, Attorney Jeff Sessions has refired. Yeah, it was kind of funny. But it was a calculated move. It was done this way on purpose. We know that he was fired, basically. Trump deemed him ineffective. And, that's Trump's prerogative. It's his cabinet to do with. But, the fact is that we now have an interim or acting United States Attorney General, and he does not have to, in an acting fashion, be confirmed because of Sessions' quote-unquote resignation. Trump can move the acting Attorney General into place if he has already been through Senate confirmation process, which he has, and he is now in place that fast. We'll see what this young man has. Could he be the permanent replacement? He could. We don't know. But we'll find out soon enough. Anyway, let's see. Sessions, he wrote a great letter, a great resignation letter. He made sure to put that it was at the president's request. He wanted people to know that he was not stepping aside voluntarily. And I get that. What's next for Sessions? We don't know. I expect that Sessions will come home here to Alabama, and he will take a few weeks and reassess what he intends to do. My guess is that he will enjoy retirement and live a nice, comfortable life. Maybe go into private practice again. I don't expect he'll re-enter politics. We shall see. Right now, his Senate seat would be easy pickings if he were to run again. Being held by a Democrat here that will never get reelected in a full general. There's no chance. And he knows that. That's why he voted against Kavanaugh in the confirmation hearings, against the will of his constituents here at home. So, Jeff Sessions will have some time to think about it and make a decision. And I'm sure that there are a few gentlemen here in D.C. representing Alabama that would love to know what Mr. Sessions is going to do, because I'm sure that both Bradley Byrne and Mo Brooks have eyes on that Senate seat, knowing that this will be the time to strike when a Democrat is sitting in it. And if you have any doubt about the power of just running as a Democrat in the state of Alabama, we have an elected governor last night that likely suffers from some type of stroke disorder, that refused to debate her opponent, that she is nearly twice the age of, and she still took 61% of the vote home and basically said nothing except she cleaned up the mess. And if anybody keeps up with Alabama politics, that would be the mess of governor or former governor, disgraced piece of garbage, Robert Bentley. But that's a whole nother story. So anyway, we got that going too. Of course, Trump got Sessions' letter and he thanked him for his service. And, he said that a permanent replacement would be nominated at a later date. It's not clear when. There's no time limit on when it has to be done. We have Matthew Whitaker. He was the chief of staff to Jeff Sessions at the DOJ as the new acting attorney general. And this could well spell the end of Rosenstein's involvement in the Mueller probe. Time will tell. We'll see what happens. I know that this is getting pretty old. But it is what it is. Jeff Sessions is out. And we have some other things to talk about. Again, where are we at here? Let me look at the time real quick. I'm still fighting to get into the chat room. I'm having some issues there. I want to try to keep up with y'all in there, but it is not cooperating, and I am really frustrated. It just does. Oh, wait a minute. I am in now. I am in.
That's not what she said.
I guess it helps if I wasn't so old and I could remember my password. Anyway, I hate to start a story so close to the break. Hey, Rick, would it be a problem if we took the break a few minutes early and just let me go with a longer second half? We're going to take that as a yeah, that's fine. Let's go ahead and do that.
I was going to say, does that answer your question?
Yeah, sure.
My son was in the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq. Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is. If getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. You'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now. 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, $1,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-783-0810 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-783-0810. Again, that's 800-783-0810.
Jumping through some hoops, wanna get my body loose, wanna tell you what to do. I've been running out of bounds like an animal struggling, looking for a diamond. I'm trying, I'm fighting, riding in the rhythm now. I just wanna stay up all night, wanna stay up all night. Yeah.
All right, man, I love some Beck. Okay, so we're back. We'll have a little bit of extra time on this side of the break, so appreciate you doing that early for me, Rick. That lets me kick the story off the right way here. Anyway, so we have this piece of human trash we have to deal with, named Louis Farrakhan. And we all know some of the things he's been doing lately in relation to the election. But here's what you may not know. With all the election hype and coverage and everything else that's been going on, Louis Farrakhan went this week to Iran. Visiting Iran on the eve of the reimposition of U.S. sanctions, Nation of Islam leader Louis Farrakhan met with a man wanted in connection with a major act of international terrorism and told students that if they persevere, they can be victorious over the foe they call the Great Satan. Isn't he special? Isn't he special? Now, Farrakhan, whose comments about Jews have prompted a lot of critics to label him America's leading anti-Semite, and they are not wrong when they label him that way, and urged Democratic lawmakers linked to him to resign, traveled to Iran as it marked the 39th anniversary of seizure of the U.S. Embassy and taking of American hostages. You know, I remember that. I was around for that. I was old enough that I actually remember all that. So while addressing students at the University of Tehran, he referred to the sanctions which the Trump administration put back into place on Monday, previously lifted under the 2015 nuclear deal. The restored restrictions target Iran's crucial energy and banking sectors. He said, "I'm coming to you from the United States of America that is gloating over the fact that the President of the United States is going to place on the Islamic Republic the most stringent sanctions that have ever been placed on any nation before." In comments aired on the IRINN state television network and made available by the Middle East Media Research Institute, Farrakhan cited a Quranic verse saying that nothing happens outside the will of Allah, and then added that those who believe in Allah may ask, why is Iran suffering so much, particularly from the United States of America? Is it not true that you have called America the Great Satan? He continued. If you believe what you say, then would not Satan be actively involved in trying to destroy a nation that is set up on the belief and practice of submission to the will of God? Except there's one problem. The God that I know and believe in doesn't tell us to murder people that think differently. He tells us murder is bad. He tells us not to judge others. But hey, just little differences like that, right? I mean, look, the U.S. is willing to make it difficult for Iran to carry out its mission, Farrakhan told his audience, but if you have the strength to persevere, the victory will be yours. Could this actually be interpreted as sedition? I mean, he's actually preaching victory over the United States for another country. I don't know. I need a legal opinion. Where's my legal attorney? As opposed to my attorney. Where's my legal representation? I need some hips. Anyway, the state news agency, IRNA, also quoted Farrakhan as saying that the United States has never been a democracy. Well, he's got that part right. And that America is losing all over the world, and under President Trump, America is losing at a very quick pace. That's where he's wrong. But he's absolutely right. We're not a democracy. We are a representative republic. And not to go off on a tangent here, but some of the morons that I've been dealing with on my timeline today could really stand to take a civics lesson and learn what that's all about. I got this moron who, hey, he claims he's a physician. I don't know. I don't think he's smart enough to be a physician, but he's saying that it's just so unfair that each state gets 2 senators when the population is so different. He doesn't understand what the House is for. Go back and look at what the senators were originally appointed to do. Get back to me after you read Tyranny of the Majority. I'm just sick of these idiots. They tell me I'm crapping on the Constitution. They tell me I'm stupid, and they're sitting here completely so far off base that they might as well be in the stand having a hot dog instead of trying to steal second. Now, Farrakhan also led chants of death to America and death to Israel while he was there in Tehran. That's always charming. What's it going to take? What does it take for this guy to be charged with crimes? This is an American citizen basically planning and plotting the and let's not say overthrow per se, but the defeat of the American government. Marg Israel, death to Israel in Farsi. Marg Bar. Yeah. Last March, the Republican Jewish Coalition challenged 7 Democratic lawmakers over links to Farrakhan, saying that then Representatives Keith Ellison, now the Attorney General of Minnesota, Maxine Waters, Barbara Lee, Danny Davis of Illinois, Andre Carson of Indiana, Gregory Meeks of New York, and Al Green of Texas should all resign. Now, of course, they're not going to resign. Hell no. They're above that. Their constituents need them. They wouldn't know what to do if I wasn't here. Not resigning? Crazy. But a few of them did actually they repudiated Farrakhan's views, including Lee and Meeks, both on Twitter, and Carson and Davis in just giving statements to the press. Ellison said he had long ago disavowed Farrakhan's controversial opinions. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't, but if he has, why not stand up and do it again just to make sure everybody knows? You know, all 7 Democrats were up for re-election. Ellison not returning to Congress but running for Attorney General of Minnesota, which he won. God help Minnesota. I just don't know how they're going to make it. It looked like every seat they had up there that was on the board last night went left. And I feel so bad for my friends up there that have to live under that. You know, Donald Trump Jr. even asked, when are Democrats going to disavow this guy? Talking about Farrakhan. You know, he quipped that Democrat frontrunner for 2020 would be Farrakhan. The enemies have plotted. Now, during his visit, Farrakhan, who definitely has made provocative statements in Iran in past years, met with the long-tenured secretary of the regime's Expediency Council, a body that advises Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, Moshe Rezai. He was commander of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps from 81 to 97. He's wanted in Argentina and is the subject of an Interpol red notice in connection with the deadliest terror attack that that country's history. That would be the 1994 suicide truck bombing of the AMIA Jewish Community Center in Buenos Aires, which took 85 lives. The Mir news agency quoted Farrakhan as telling Rezai, I understand how the enemies have plotted against the Iranian people, and I would like to stay alongside you to stop their plots. You know, I'm not one that likes to advocate violence just because somebody thinks differently, but when you're talking about working with the world's largest state sponsor of terrorism to basically end the United States, I would have absolutely no problem at all if some type of speeding projectile coated in pig fat were to penetrate his skull. And I don't care who likes that and who doesn't like that. Just saying, not advocating for it. I just wouldn't think too badly about it if it happened. The Mir agency said that Rezai had told the American visitor that in the face of problems caused by Trump, Muslims need to unite and form a solid movement. Turning to the 1979 hostage seizure, Rezai also told Farrakhan that Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini had ordered the release of African Americans and women among the hostages to show that the revolution had no problem with the black people of America. You know who else doesn't have a problem with the black people of America? Most Americans. Most Americans, period, regardless of their color. You know, we live in the same neighborhoods together. Our kids go to school together. We eat food together. You know, there's no doubt there are racist people out there. But it is not like what you hear on CNN. My God, if you can keep your food down for 5 minutes listening to Van Jones, this guy, he's special. He's like, you can read to him real slow kind of special. This clown thinks that his words yesterday were it may not have been a blue wave, but it was a rainbow wave because there were a few firsts in political history, because we had a first openly gay governor elected. Congratulations, Colorado. He seems like a nice guy, except that he's a leftist. We had the first Muslim woman elected to Congress. Congratulations, Minnesota. I'm sure she'll serve you well. It just, why does it matter? Why can't she just be a woman? Why can't he just be a man? Their sexuality and their nationality and their religion, it doesn't define them. It doesn't. And for the pundits and the politicians and the talking heads on the left to keep dropping people into these tiny little neat containers to keep them all where they're supposed to be. I used to think the whole Brexit thing was just a joke, but man, I'm really thankful for it. I'm thankful that they stand up and recognize that they've been used. And I mean used like a cheap health department condom. That's exactly what politicians have done to black Americans for decades and decades and decades. Anyway, let's get back. Khomeini was quoted at the time as saying that he was ordering their release because, quote, blacks for a long time have lived under oppression and pressure in America, and because Islam reserves special rights for women. Yes, they have the right to have acid thrown in their face. They have the right to be stoned. They have the right to be raped and then stoned to death because they were raped. I'm sure they have a whole list of bills, a Bill of Rights for women in the faith of Islam. So the releases came 2 weeks after the seizure. Another 52 Americans were held for a total of 444 days, thanks to President Carter and his ineptness. On Monday, Tasnim reported that Farrakhan has now also met with one of the Shia Islam's senior-most figures, the Qom-based Grand Ayatollah Makaram Shirazi. Shirazi has dismissed the Holocaust as a superstition, was one of several top Iranian religious leaders accused by Secretary of State Mike Pompeo in a speech last July of rampant corruption under the cover of piety. So these are Farrakhan's friends. And of course, they all hate Jews and they all hate Americans. So it's just a big love fest over there with Farrakhan. I say, let's let him stay. Let's let him stay. All right. So anyway, enough about Farrakhan. Let's come back home for a few minutes. We've been touching on election stuff on and off all night, and that's good. We should. I'm not going to get into the specific races per se so much, maybe as some of the others will. I have no idea what Bunny and Orty have planned coming up at the top of the hour. I'm sure that you're going to want to stay tuned for that. They're going to be working with a new format tonight. This is going to be a workout for Rick and an exercise in control for Orty and Bunny and Orty. I would like to see, in addition to the swear jar, I'd like to see money go in when they go over their new break marks. So let's make that happen, Rick. You can keep that money. How about that?
I might be able to retire.
Yeah, Sam's probably cussing me right now.
There's no probably about it, brother. You're going to hear about it in about 13 minutes.
Yeah, that's okay. It's all good. So yeah, do yourself a favor and sit tight for that. That's like Rick said, coming up in just 13 minutes, FUBAR. And then right after them, America Off the Rails with the busiest man in show business, Rick Robinson. But anyway, back to politics. A message from Representative Kevin McCarthy, the House Majority Leader, was urgent and unsparing. In a meeting with Republican lawmakers before they left Washington for the August congressional recess, Congressman McCarthy warned that time was running short, and unless the GOP intensified their campaign efforts and forcefully delivered a coherent message, he said Republicans would suffer grievous losses in November. Wow. Instead of arresting their political decline, House Republicans proved unable at every turn to stay ahead of their troubles, including many of their own making. And if you've followed me for any amount of time on Twitter, you have seen the picture that I post that I claim should be the GOP's official logo, which is a picture of a man shooting himself in the foot. By Labor Day, Republicans were fatally unprepared for an onslaught of Democrat campaign spending that overwhelmed their candidates from South Florida to Seattle. Party leaders on Capitol Hill and in the White House soon turned on one another and against their candidates with growing intensity. Two key groups, the National Republican Congressional Committee, the party's campaign arm in the House, and the Congressional Leadership Fund, a powerful Republican super PAC, plunged into an all-out open warfare, basically, over messaging and money. Democrats, in turn, delivered a message, not necessarily an effective one, but they turned back to health care, and they hit it with the repetitive force of a jackhammer. They cracked congressional maps drawn and seized an array of open seats. Now, why weren't the Republicans smart enough that the minute the Democrats started talking about health care, why didn't the Republicans scorch the earth they were standing on by telling them that they're the ones that screwed up health care even worse than it was before the Affordable Care Act? It doesn't take a genius to figure it out that it's true first, and that it would have been a natural response, and they could have done it in a unified manner across the board. It baffles me that in a time of economic prosperity like we're seeing, people turned their backs on the fortune they've had. They've turned their backs on people that voted for the tax cuts, that put more of their earned money into their pockets. They turned their back on jobs returning to America. Manufacturing jobs coming home. This is what Obama said that Trump would have to find a magic wand to make happen. Well, guess what? He found it, because it's happening. And people still turn their backs on it. Were there some weak candidates out there? Yeah, there were. There's no doubt about it. There's always weak candidates out there. But I'd rather have a weak somebody that understands where we're going and how we're prospering because of where we're going. And they may have some questions and they may have some hems and haws about it, but in the end, they'll pull the line. Now, Trump they're saying may have delivered the final blow to his party across the diverse and growing metro communities that decided control of the House. In the last weeks of the campaign, Trump cast aside a positive Republican message about economic prosperity in favor of stroking racial panic about immigration. And I don't see that he stroked panic, as they say. He just said that it needs to stop. It needs to stop. And he's right. It does. We need comprehensive immigration reform, and we don't need it in the way that the Democrats think we need it. We need it in a much more strict and tight way. So Ryan is out. Paul Ryan did absolutely nothing to help anybody that was up for election. This was the most do-nothing speaker that I've seen in years. Even Boehner did more. For crying out loud. Freaking Boehner. Yeah, him. So, anyway, I don't know. My hands are in the air. We're going to have a couple of years here, folks. There's going to be a lot of investigations. There's going to be a lot of chatter. Pelosi's already trying to talk down the impeachment talk in her party. That's not a very popular thing. Schiff and Waters and Elijah Cummings, they're all spouting about their retribution already. And they can't wait for this. And they're going to get Trump. And their whole agenda is take your tax cuts away, open the borders, and screw up healthcare more. That's it. That's what they have. And, higher taxes, not lower taxes, higher taxes. All right, folks, that's about it for me. It's time to wrap it up. Like I said, Foo and Orty getting ready to come in here and rock the house. Stay tuned for Foo Bar. And then you're going to get Rowdy Rick Robinson with America Off the Rails. And Rick, you've got Varick on tonight, right?
Yes, sir. That is correct. He'll be joining us for as long as he wants to hang out. I'm not sure how long he's going to stay, but we'll see.
That's it. Okay, so that's me. If you like the show, tell your friends. If your friends like the show, you need new ones. But they and you are welcome right here with me every week on KLRN Radio for the Conservative Curmudgeon Show. I am the Grouch. Thanks for being here. Peace.
I hate this place. Nothing works here. The medications don't work. I've been here for 7 years.
Here's to you. Feel the grass. The last few nights of experience. Thank you for help. It's time to go for themselves. Go for themselves. Here's to us. Here's to us. Here's to us. Here's to us. Here's to love. Here's to us. Everybody well. Here's to us. Here's to love. Here's to us. Here's to us.
But our shenanigans are cheeky and fun.